The city was asleep, yet Ayaan lay awake, staring at the ceiling of his darkened room. The silence was deafening, pressing against his chest like an unbearable weight. His past played in his mind like an old, broken record, a series of mistakes, regrets, and sins he could no longer ignore. Tonight was different. Tonight, the guilt was suffocating. Ayaan had once been a kind and innocent soul, raised by loving parents who taught him the beauty of faith. But as he grew older, the temptations of the world pulled him away. Late nights, reckless decisions, lost prayers. One by one, he abandoned everything he once held dear. His mother's tearful pleas for him to return to the right path, his father's disappointed silence, all were drowned out by the noise of his own selfish desires. But nothing haunted him more than Zayd. Zayd had been his childhood friend, his brother in faith. He never judged Ayaan, never turned away from him, even when Ayaan turned his back on Allah. "Ayaan, no matter how far you've gone, Allah's mercy is greater," Zayd had once said, his eyes filled with sincerity. "Just turn back. He's waiting for you." Ayaan had scoffed. "You don't get it, Zayd. I've done too much. There's no coming back from this." Zayd had only smiled sadly. "Allah's mercy is infinite. You just have to ask." Those were the last words Zayd ever spoke to him. The next morning, the news shattered Ayaan's world. Zayd had died in a car accident on his way to far prayer. Ayaan never cried at funerals, but that day he broke down. He stood over his best friend's grave, the weight of his rejection pressing down on him. He had turned away from Allah, but Zayd never did. And now, Zayd was gone, while Ayaan was left drowning in regret. Years passed, but the guilt never faded. The emptiness grew. He tried to fill it with the world, with money, with distractions, with anything that could numb the pain. But nothing did. Tonight, as he lay in the darkness, something inside him shattered. He couldn't run anymore. He couldn't hide. His body trembled as he rose from his bed, his knees hitting the floor in desperation. Tears blurred his vision as he raised his hands toward the heavens. "Ya Allah, forgive me!" His voice cracked. He wasn't sure if he even deserved to be heard. But he kept going, words spilling from his lips like a river breaking through a dam. "Ya Allah, I have been lost for so long. I turned away from you, ignored your signs, abandoned my prayers. But tonight, I can't do it anymore. I need you. Please forgive me." The pain poured out of him in waves, his sobs filling the empty room. And then, a memory surfaced, one he had buried deep within. His mother, standing by his bedside when he was a child, her voice soft as she recited a verse from the Quran. "Say, O my servants who have transgressed against themselves, by sinning, do not despair of the mercy of Allah. Indeed, Allah forgives all sins. Indeed, it is He who is the forgiving, the merciful." Surah Az-Zumar 39:53. Ayaan gasped, the weight in his chest lifting just a little. Do not despair. Zayd had tried to tell him. His mother had tried to tell him. And now, Allah was telling him. With a trembling heart, Ayaan prostrated for the first time in years. The cold floor met his forehead, and in that moment, he felt something he had not felt in a long, long time: peace. He didn't know if the road ahead would be easy. He didn't know if he could undo the past. But he knew one thing for certain: Allah had never abandoned him. He had only been waiting for Ayaan to return. And tonight, he finally had.